Muhammad Ali, considered by many the greatest boxer of all time, won the sport's heavyweight championship 3 times between 1964 and 1978. He retired from the ring in 1981 after losing 3 of his last 4 contests. By that time, his speech had a noticeable slur, and in 1984 it was publicly announced that he had been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. During his legendary trilogy of bouts against Joe Frazier from 1971 to 1975, Ali was on the receiving end of over 1,000 heavy punches during 41 total rounds. Most feel this was the beginning of the end for his cognitive functions, as the disease made it difficult for the champ to get around in his later years. However, it was another fight that others point to as the time when the cause of his illness truly began. His opponent was not a natural boxer, but was a well-known name around the sporting world. War of the Worlds, a first-of-its-kind fight, took place at the Nippon Budokan Arena in Tokyo, Japan on June 26, 1976. Built for judo competition at the 1964 Olympic Games, the building's name means Japan Martial Arts Hall. The War was promoted by Bob Arum and Vince McMahon Sr. as the first martial arts championship. Ali, using his mouth as the best promoting tool, lamented that Oriental fighters didn't challenge him for fear and threw out a $1 million purse if one accepted a fight. A rigid response did emanate from the Far East in the form of Antonio Inoki. Inoki came from the world of professional wrestling, where he founded New Japan Pro Wrestling. He had been promoting fights between wrestlers and martial artists, wanting to prove that wrestlers were the premier athletes. Antonio, real name Kanji Inoki, was no stranger to controversy himself. In 1971, he was removed from the Japanese Wrestling Association for attempting a takeover. He began focusing on mixed martial arts contests and competed in several over the next few years. Many critics labeled these bouts and his subsequent victories as a farce. The new rivals were not afraid to brag about their belief in winning, Ali naming Inoki a pelican due to his pronounced chin, and Inoki presented his rival with a crutch for use following their showdown. The advertised 15-round fight was originally scheduled to be a worked or staged contest. Inoki was to win after the referee was accidentally knocked out, then come to and count Ali out, who would have been knocked out during the referee's absence by Inoki. When Muhammad learned of the proposed outcome, he refused. Then the fight became a real one, not for exhibition. Rules for the contest were revised so many times the fight wasn't considered boxer versus wrestler anymore and seemed to clearly favor the boxer. The boxer was allowed to punch using special gloves. The wrestler was limited to how much tackling and kicking he could do and would fight bare-fisted. Since his 3rd fight against Frazier, a TKO victory, Muhammad had won all 3 of his fights, the last a TKO over Richard Dunn in the 5th round, and was currently recognized by the WBA and WBC as boxing's heavyweight champion. Training with professional wrestler The Sheik, Ali predicted his match with Inoki would end in the 8th round. The event was broadcast through closed-circuit venues in 34 countries to an audience of 1.4 billion people. One major venue in the United States was Shea Stadium, which had a live event scheduled as part of the undercard. One contest pitted pro wrestler Andre the Giant against boxer Chuck Wepner. The main fight grossed over $20 million from U.S. closed-circuit venues alone. At 14,500 spectators, the Budokan was a sellout in Tokyo. For the majority of the contest, Inoki stayed on his back and administered hard kicks to Ali's shins, legs, and thighs, not permitting the boxer to land any punches. The special rules stated that Inoki could not land kicks while on both his feet. Ali scoffed at the strategy, and the crowd was visibly upset, filling the arena with boos. Though the boxer did his best to avoid the kicking, his legs had started bleeding by the 5th round. Both fighters resorted to illegal tactics in later rounds, with the referee admonishing each. Ali was taken off his feet several times, but due to Inoki's strategy not changing, the crowd became restless and got behind the boxer. As the fight progressed, it was becoming clear how much damage all the leg kicks were doing to the American. By the 10th round, the Japanese crowd had firmly turned against their countryman. Ali began to block the kicking and landed a few punches, but was met with multiple low blows. Once the fight concluded, the participants shook hands and hugged. The crowd littered the ring with debris in a show of dissatisfaction. Most other fans watching around the world were also displeased, but also were not aware to the special rules put in place. Ali's leg became infected, and he suffered blood clots that would affect his performance the rest of his career. The contest, went to the scorecards, with 3 judges deeming it a draw. Muhammad Ali threw a total of 6 punches. Though just about every fight historian and most fans consider the contest a flop, the 2 combatants became good friends. The payoffs for each participant were staggering. $2 million went to Inoki, who in 1986 would fight another former boxing champion in Leon Spinks. $6 million was the paycheck for Ali, who barely eked out a title defense against Ken Norton in September of that year. He would never record another knockout, and lost the championship in 1978 to the aforementioned Spinks. Inoki continued to wrestle until 1998, during which time he became involved in politics, creating his own party and serving on the House of Councilors. For his final match against Don Frye, one special guest who came to watch in person was Muhammad Ali. The 1976 match led to the creation of Pancrase, a mixed martial arts promotion founded by the students of Inoki. This in turn led to Pride Fighting and eventually the UFC. Revolutionary as the idea was, and the buzz created due to the participants' popularity, it seems special matches like this, no matter how talented the competitors are, just never seem to work out.